Today we had on a returning Overask favorite, Taya DiCarlo. She talks about overcoming adversity in her personal life, content burnout, why she's fired up for 2023, and the videos she plans on making for the new year.
The Broke Agent presents Overask Podcast.
Taya,
Yes.
how the hell are you?
What a loaded question that is.
That even rhymed. Taya, how the heck are you?
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I miss you guys. I really do. It's been one heck of a year.
Yes, I know. So you've been, for those who don't know, for the listeners who've just jumped on, you were on one of the early episodes of Overask. And since then, you kind of just exploded in stardom. We had to call like 5 agents to get you back on the show.
It was I couldn't even reach you. I talked to like 6 assistants.
They're called gatekeepers, you guys.
Right, of course.
Just kidding.
So yeah, how has everything been? I mean, you've been crushing on social, you've been
God.
crushing everything. I mean, in your profile, top 1.5% agents nationwide. I mean, what's gone on since that last
Yeah.
episode? Let's get into
Oh
this.
my God. When did we exactly shoot that?
You were under 10,000 followers.
Yeah.
I know that.
So that was over a year ago then. That was like a year and a half ago. Oh my God. What? I mean, I know we don't have a lot of time because speaking of big time, Eric's pretty big time and he's got back-to-back appointments.
No, I really have to give my dongle to my fiance. I wish it was back-to-back appointments. It's just a technological issue.
Oh my God. Here, I'll just, you know me, I'm going to always keep it real with you guys, without diving too deep into like personal stuff. But I think as realtors, it would be really fake and shallow to not bring up life, because as real estate agents, we deal with people during the most emotional, stressful time of their life, right? Buying or selling a house. The crazy comes out when people buy or sell. And I should know this. I sold a property of mine this past year, and that shit was way more stressful than I thought it was going to be. But we have to balance our personal lives and our businesses and the personal lives of our clients. And life happens. Like for me, I'm going through a divorce, granted an amicable one, which God, I can't imagine having like a drama with that, but it's still been hard. And it completely threw me for a loop beginning of 2022. But I know that I'm not alone in that. Like whether you have some sad stuff that happens in your life, whether it's a death or a divorce or just life, or maybe just like a happy life event, like maybe you're engaged and you're getting married or you're having a baby, like the world doesn't stop turning. And so as real estate agents, we have to learn how to really go with the flow. So this year, since we last were on, my social media has exploded because I really got serious about my content. And the one lesson that I learned in 2022 was to persevere and push through even when you're not in the mood to do it.
Yeah, how was that going through the divorce and dealing with real estate and trying to create content? Like,
my
were there
God.
ever moments where you just said, I can't do any of this right now. I need to take a break? Or like, did your real estate business ever suffer from this, from this fact? Like what was going on in your head during all this?
Well, part one of that question, in the very beginning of the year, I was like, I'm fine. And to be honest with you, you saw me, Eric. Like I
Yeah.
actually was doing really well because although I was shocked, I wasn't surprised that I was going through it. And so the sense of like, I'm a survivor, I'm going to be okay. Like I have the required to get through this. But there were times, many times, when I would schedule my content. And you guys know, like you shoot once a month or you shoot twice a month, and that's the day that you're going to do it all for the month. And I would call Ricky and Derek, my team, and I would say, hey guys, I know we've got it on the calendar, but I'm not feeling it today. And they're like, Taya, come on, just show up. They're like, once you get here, you're going to be fine. And so I would drive from LA to Orange County crying, no makeup on, not really knowing what the fuck I was going to talk about. And I would get there and they would have a bouquet of flowers and a card And they're like, you can do hard things.
Yeah.
And so I would just wipe my tears. And this is where you delegate, right? I'd hire a makeup artist, I would hire all the people, I'd have my outfits, and I would get up on camera and I would do it. Because if you waited to be in the mood to make your phone calls, you would never make your phone calls. If you waited until you were in the mood to go to the gym, you would just never go to the gym. So you have to, in the face of um, adversity, you have to take a deep breath and be like, okay, I can feel my feelings. Like, I'm not just going to pretend like they're not there. I'm going to feel them. But for this moment, put them aside and I'm going to do what I need to do. And my business, absolutely. Granted, we went through in this economy, right? Everyone's business is really down. Not everybody, but a lot. Like stockbrokers, people in the financial world, their business is impacted like 40%. And
Yeah.
my business, my volume is down almost 50% from what it was last year. Granted, last year I did over 50 million. I had a great year. This year, I'm very proud to say, in spite of everything, the fact that I'm going to close out just under is huge, huge, especially when the first half of the year I was a fucking zombie.
Yeah. We never really think about, like, we're constantly dealing with clients and their personal, not necessarily problems, but what's going on in their personal life. And I always wonder, like, does the client care what's happening with the agent? Because they're expecting their agent to respond to everything right away.
Yeah.
Like, they're not expected to deal with what's happening with us emotionally.
Yeah.
So it's, I'm sure it was hard to kind of bridge that communication gap if there were times that they were hitting you up at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and you're dealing with kids, a divorce, a completely life-changing experience. And they're still expecting that communication from
And
you.
they
So I bet that
are.
was,
And they
yeah,
are. And it's
'cause they don't
funny. They
care.
don't
I mean,
give a
they care,
shit.
but they don't
No, they
really
don't
care.
give a shit. They
Yeah,
really don't, because at the end of the day, they're paying a fee for a service.
right.
And even though you may be working with someone who's a friend, like, they could give two Fs. And I know this from personal experience, sadly, this year. And so I actually, even though everybody knows me as like, I wear my heart on my sleeve, I'm very open. What you see is what you get. 100%. I'm still that person. But I definitely pulled back this year. I learned some valuable lessons along the way where it's okay to share, and but you don't want to put too much out there, because you don't want people to think, A, you're incapable of doing your job, because you're not. You don't want pity from people. And the more information you give them, the more when things go sideways to hold it against you. So I think that the big lesson and the little gem that everybody listening can take with them is, yes, you are human. You are not a robot. If they really wanted to just outsource it and not have to deal with the personal aspect, they would hire Redfin, or they would hire, some iBuyer online portal, whatever. They're hiring you because they want you, but you just need to learn how to compartmentalize and put it aside and deal with it when you or deal with it in the morning when you meditate, whatever.
Yeah. Can we hold this thought for 1 second? My dog is losing. Have you heard him the whole time?
No, I haven't heard
Okay,
him
good.
once.
I had it on mute, so I didn't know. I have to, because I can't talk. He's gonna just keep barking.
Okay.
Okay,
I
1
will edit
second.
this part
We'll
out.
edit it out.
But that was a great point. This is like the deepest point of the
I
conversation.
know. But it's, you know what? It's good that we're having, like, it's funny. Like, a lot of these conversations about social media can be like lighthearted. And everyone knows me as being like very Pollyanna
Right.
happy. And it's like, let's be real. Like, people go through hard stuff.
Because for a while you didn't post about the divorce on social media,
No,
right? And
no,
then when you did, you actually got some like negative feedback from it. I remember you
I
sending me
did.
some comments from people saying you shouldn't be airing this in public. So
Yeah.
what was your response to that?
My response was, it hurt a little bit because there was a little string of truth to that. Right. So, but I am all about the mindset of failing forward. The only way you're going to learn is by putting yourself out there and seeing how people are going to react. So, I think that if anything, just have to control expectations when you first sit down with people,
Hmm.
and you have to let them like, I actually turned it around on some clients and I said, look, I go, fortunately for you, I'm going through a divorce because now I have 50% of my time free.
Right.
If I wasn't, I would be the full-time wife, the full-time mom, the full-time, and not to say I'm a part-time mom now, but half the time they're not here and I can actually do things that benefit my business, benefit my health and my well-being. And so many fucking lessons learned this year.
Yeah, and, you've always done a good job at showing yourself authentically, showing the losses. It hasn't always just been like, "This is the perfect Taya
Yeah.
doing her 2 cents and everything," so you've always been good at that, and I thought that just provided an entire new layer when you added that into your personal life and into your actual content. You started talking about it more on podcasts, interviews,
Yeah.
with Byron and on this, and I think it just, kinda adds to your personality and just makes you more relatable with just everybody that's going through
100%.
personal problems in their life because everybody's dealing with something.
Everybody's dealing with something. And whether it's a divorce or maybe a privately very unhappy marriage,
Yeah.
right? Or maybe they're lonely because they don't have family or they don't have something personal to talk about. Like, I've learned through this experience that everybody projects their own inner trauma. They're triggered by whatever, and they're going to put that on you. And it's just not yours to take. Like,
Mhm.
you don't have to. That's the big takeaway right there, is that, like, anybody who's going to project on you, you have to recognize the fact that it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And like my therapist would say, you forgive them. You literally, like, forgive something back. So like if somebody literally says something to offend, like them throwing a bag of shit at you, and you can pick up the bag of shit and be like, you dropped this.
Right.
This is not mine. I'm gonna forgive it back to you. But yeah, that this year has been filled with some major challenges, but as I've said on some of my videos before, the greatest teacher is failure.
Mhm.
And I tell my children that. Like, when Gio lost his soccer tournament, they were like first place the entire time. Like, he scored the tie-breaking goal and then they lost in the end, and he was hysterical. And I said, honey, sometimes losing is the best thing that can happen to you, because it makes you sit back and go, where could I have been better? How can I come back stronger next time? Like, look at all of the greatest successful people have been through major adversity. And so for me, I kind of think of it as fuel for 2023. Like, I've learned so much about myself through travel, friendships, loss, wins. I mean, this was not all downer for me. If anything, I'm like, yeah, my numbers were down, but me as a person, I am the I've been. I'm the
Yeah.
fucking best I've ever been. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I know what I want. I feel completely unstoppable right now. Um, like, I'm like already jacked up for 2023. Like, I'm going to the gym like New Year's Eve already happened. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like a mad woman in there. I'm like, what's up? Like, it was December 1st. It's like February 1st for me right now.
That's
Like,
why I operate on the Jewish calendar now in September after Rosh Hashanah, so I could start my New Year's resolutions early. But I just wanna touch upon what you said about, like, going through a breakup or, a big event in your life and then having this rejuvenation that you've had. Like the broke agent kind of spawned, 6 months after a breakup for me as well, where it was like, this is the most creative thing I could think of doing right now. And, there's like a 2 month period of like, depression and, not producing content, not knowing what I was doing. But then you do hit that like next level of, no, this is incredible. I have freedom. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to be the most creative person on earth right now. And it's like you're 10xing yourself, Matt.
Oh wow.
There
You
you
Grant
go.
Cardone us right
I
here.
Cardoned you right there.
you're gonna
Yeah.
Exactly.
see if he writes back on this one.
I
Yeah.
know. He liked it. He
I
liked
saw
it. We're
that.
getting somewhere.
Massive.
Yeah, I'm speaking at the 10X conference next year.
Stop it.
No, I'm
Oh
not.
my God. I was
That'd be
like,
hilarious.
you see how I just totally took the bait? I'm so gullible. I'm like, oh my God, really? I'm gonna like start tweeting it. You know what's so funny? You said that you started getting really creative after a hardship. Um, I just shot my December content with Ricky and Derek on Monday. And I showed up and they were like, whoa, what's going on? And I was like, I'm fucking back.
Yeah.
They're like, Jesus Christ, hey. I'm like, I had like, instead of just like 4 outfits, I had like 10 outfits. I got there on time. They're like, whoa, what's happening right now? I had all my ideas like totally flushed out. I've lost 6 pounds, no big deal. But I mean, like,
Congrats.
thank you. I'm like, I've been working out. I feel good. And Ricky was just like, you're about to step it up. And I'm like, yeah, because I felt like this year, and I don't know about you guys as content creators, I I was so sick of myself. And quite frankly, I wasn't sick of you guys, but I was sick of other people.
You're a little sick of us.
No, I actually
The,
really
the
love
way
you
you
guys.
said that, I sensed a little bit of
No,
Yeah, a little
actually,
bit of
annoyance.
sickness.
Yeah, a
no.
little sickness.
I
There.
actually,
I wasn't sick of you guys.
you know who I got sick of?
Who?
Were
Tell us, give us the dirt.
the tea is about to be spilled. I was sick of
Dan O'Neill.
no.
Okay.
That's what I said.
I was I was
Byron.
sick of people. No, I was sick of people who were all of a sudden jumping on to creating content out of nowhere, and I felt like they were doing a decent job, but there was no like soul behind it. It
Mhm.
felt
Mhm.
like it felt canned, it felt uncreative, it felt ripped off. It felt like this parroting of just the same stuff over and over and over again. And I get it, like those people and whoever follow them in their sphere on the other side of the country, like maybe it's all fresh to those people. I follow so many real estate agents that after a while it just felt like I was listening to the same content and I was really hungry for something creative. Which
Yeah.
is why I went back into the mastermind layer, if you will, and I started really diving deep into articles of news sources, and really like diving deep and thinking, how can I come up with creative content that's going to be valuable to people, where it's actually my opinion and I'm not just doing the Taya version of something that's already been done.
I
Yeah.
want to get. We want
There's
to
so,
get into the. Yeah, go ahead, man.
yeah. No, there's just before we get it, because there's so much to unpack to what you
Yeah.
just said. Um, just back to the burnout a little bit. Like everyone gets that. And I find that all the stories you always hear is, I was about to quit. I was feeling burnt out. I was feeling bad for myself. And then the best ideas came after that. So it's just like, have you ever seen that I guess that photo of like the guy digging for gold
Yeah,
and then he stops right before the gold and he just heads home? It's like if you can get through, like if you're feeling that burnout, that's a good thing. It
yeah.
means you've worked your ass off to get there. It's totally normal. And if you just keep going that little bit more, like the best ideas are right around the corner.
Totally. It's and you don't want someone else to walk in and just strike it once and then they're lucky. It's like you gave up too soon.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also the fact about getting sick of yourself, Taya, you and I have been like texting about this the last few months. I am so sick of myself. I am sick of the YouTube videos, the marketing Mondays. I'm saying the same like Instagram tips over and over and over again on this podcast and masterminds on walkthrough because there's just so many different places to distribute content. I'm writing blogs about it. All this like marketing stuff just coming out. And when I hear myself talking sometimes, and maybe some of the listeners feel this as well, throw it a like if you agree with this, but you find yourself going down these similar dialogue trees to what you've said before.
Yes.
And you've been on so many interviews and podcasts and everything too. I'm sure even when you're doing speaking gigs, you find yourself kind of saying stuff you've already said before.
Yes.
Even though it's to a different audience and they probably don't recognize it. It's just, you kind of are just like, I need to just stop doing this for a little bit. And I
Yeah.
can't, and I'm not going to
Yeah.
because it's a media company, but that
Well-
definitely is something that is, very prominent in my head right now.
You also got to remember though, like you almost have to think you're speaking to one person at a time. So like you said, like there could be 99 people in that room who had heard it. And and one person, 100 people in the room, 99 could have heard it. One person like sees crazy value in it and you help that person that day.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't click the first time. And
Yeah.
I've found that before. I've listened to Gary Vee say the same shit for years.
Yeah, that's true.
And sometimes he'll say it and then I'll be like, oh, that day I needed to hear that thing.
That's a good point.
100%. And it is a practice. And I think that it's a growing pain. It's a growing pain that if you create content long enough, that it's almost like being a performer, being an actor. You've done your lines so many times that it's like, how can you get to the stage and all of a sudden make it feel like it's authentic and the first time you've ever given it? That is an art. That is a skill. That's something that can be learned. And I remember when I spoke at Tom Ferry's conference in 2018, I had a 20-minute long memorized, almost like a TED talk. And I did it for my mom before I got on stage. And she was like, "You don't sound excited." And I was like, she's like, "You sound like you've said it a million times." I'm like, "Well, I have said it a fucking million times."
Right.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, I need you to act like it's the first time you've ever said it. And this is someone who doesn't know you, knows nothing about you." And so that was my mantra before I got on stage. And I've carried that with me before I get on camera. Like, this is the first time I've ever said this. Maybe this is, and
Yeah.
now that Instagram is feeding my content to people who don't know who I am, we've tweaked Taya's 2 cents. So Taya's 2 cents now is the hook, right? We've got the formula. It's the quick hook that I love doing that gets people watching. And then it jumps into a broader opinion of like, this is the article I read. This is my opinion. 1, 2, 3. And then at the end, I look at the like camera 2 and I go, send this to a friend and tell him Taya told you. And then I'm like, I'm Taya DiCarlo, your Los Angeles realtor, and this is just my 2 cents. See you next time.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So then that way,
Very mean girls. Very mean
exactly.
girls.
Wednesdays we wear pink. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like I want them to know maybe it's the first time. Maybe they don't know me. And that's a great thing if people are watching my content and don't know who I am. And I'm trying to really hone in specifically to Los Angeles, talking to Southern Californians and getting really hyper local with it because I feel like that's going to be the next tipping point for me. Right now, I have a ton of my sphere of influence doing business with me. I have a ton of agents referring me business, but I want to tap into geographically people who can pick up the phone and call me because that hasn't happened as often as it should.
Matt, what kind of things stand the test of time?
Beats me, Eric.
Well, I got a list for you right here. Twinkies, J-Lo, Ben Affleck, diamonds, the
Right.
Beatles.
Never
Well,
heard
you
of
could
them.
add your real estate success to that list when you partner with BoomTown, the #1 user rated real estate CRM in the game.
BoomTown was built to drive sustainable long-term success, Eric, no matter
Yeah.
the market. So if you're ready to put your best foot forward and build a real estate business that can stand the test of time, visit BoomTown, ROI.com/overask. Plus, see how you can score $750 in free digital advertising now. Now that's BoomTown, ROI.com/overask.
Yeah, that hyper localized content is going to be super important the next 12 months, basically, especially heading into whatever shifting market recession, whatever you want to call this. Is, we always talk about how it's important to create content for a large audience. If you want to get followers, you want to get referrals, you want other agents to meet you. But in terms of like this market shift right now, it's important to like be providing that sort of context and education to the specific clientele that you're trying to reach in your area. Because if you're just doing content for, I want to get shares and views,
Yeah.
Then your clients aren't really getting that education that they should be from your content as well.
And you can still do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you should do both. Like focus on that and maybe even have different platforms to do different things. Like that localized content crushes on YouTube. We've seen
Yeah.
that time and time again with Ken Pozak and Brad McCallum and all those guys we've had on. Like they just crush that. So maybe that's how you figure out how to go on different platforms. I'm going to do the localized stuff here, the viral stuff on TikTok, the fun stuff for my sphere on Instagram.
Have you started with the green screen videos yet?
You know what? I was doing those on TikTok a little bit, and I'm going to
Mhm.
start doing more of them. In fact, I'm going to do one for the case study for the Blanco Bungalow. I'm
Okay.
going to have like a little like photo reel going on behind me, and I'm going to speak to it. So because that proof of success in a shifting market and to finally share how it, turned out, which it December 1st. And man, what a wild ride. I really and mind you, like I sell properties that are a lot more expensive than that house. But that house was so unique in the sense that it had its own Instagram following. And at the time that I signed the listing agreement with them, I had more followers than she did. But by the time we launched, it was like, whoa. I mean, it completely took off that by the time I spoke on stage at Compass Retreat in Atlanta, everybody in the room I was like, raise your hand if you've heard of the Blanco Bungalow. People from all over the country. So like, and I called my client, I go, yo, your house hasn't sold yet and everybody knows what your fucking house is. Like,
So tell us about the Blanco Bungalow, because I thought this was the best short form listing video I've ever seen. We did an
thank you.
article on BAM about it. You just had this like electric hook, and then, very brief house tour, perfect
Yep.
music, great call to action, DM me the details, which,
Yep.
juices the algorithm and like has them communicate directly with you.
And
that
followed
got
the MLS rules and everything.
exactly.
Like,
And that got thousands of shares. You said you got a ton of DMs from that.
oh,
and it
I have
blew
the
up.
stats right here.
Yeah.
It's gonna blow your mind.
We
'cause
want hard numbers.
Yeah, you texted me the amount of like website traffic this was getting.
Are
So
you
tell
ready
us
for
about
this?
yeah.
Are you ready for this? Okay. So mind you, we closed this thing like 27 days, right? Now, the original listing price of this house was $999. But by the time we went to go launch, so we signed the listing agreement in June. They did Compass Concierge. They took out a little bit of money to do the kitchen and to do HVAC, right? So by the time we went to hit the market in October, interest rates had fucking spiked. And it was like the sky was falling. And they're like, Taya, should we still launch at $999? Like, we really thought we were going to get over $1 million. And I thought, you know what? Everybody is lowballing right now, and your house is going to get written up in Dwell Magazine. If there were ever a time to try a higher number, let's do it for a couple weeks. And if you don't get any bites, we'll drop the price to $999 and it'll sell. And that's exactly what happened. So we launched it at 1111 She's into that. And we got a ton of traffic. Like at this point, and if they have to edit me, like finding it right now, Esther, my marketing coordinator, did it for me.
I
Okay.
remember when you texted me these stats just after the first week, and it was bananas, just the amount of website hits.
Oh my God. Okay. So we had 7 media placements: Dwell Magazine, the Long Beach Post, Long Beach Press Telegram, Orange County Register, Realtor.com, Cottages and Gardens, and California Listings. Let's call it 8. Bam. So we've got 8 media placements. We were 27 days on the market. We did 13 posts, 5 posts and 8 videos, and 1 live. Of all of those videos and posts, we had over 10,647 likes, 450 comments, 1,456 shares, 222,904 views.
Yeah.
And then, are you ready for this? The custom website that I had my photographer build, which we decided to go with, instead of 2525 Chestnut, we did buy, BUY, by theblancobungalow.com. And then we also use that in our hashtag. That website in just a month has 524,595 visits.
Yeah, I
Holy
mean,
shit.
that's straight viral. That's
Like,
I
Those are
thought you
like-
were gonna start saying that Rent song. 500. That's like
Yeah.
insane.
and it's,
That
yeah,
there's that hashtag you had
by
is
the Blanco
genius.
Bungalow.
That's
Yeah.
genius.
so people need to understand, like, this house has its own Instagram,
Yeah.
right? So this house had an Instagram before you marketed it, and then this got into another conversation that you and I were having about possibly building separate Instagram handles for houses when you get them as the listing, and then showing kind of everything that's happening with that house, and maybe that Instagram gets handed to the next buyer or the next owner or whatever, and it just keeps getting passed on. Do you think this is a viable thing for agents to do? Do you think it's too much work, or was just this just something that kind of already existed?
I think that it would be helpful if you had a really unique property that could be marketed as an Airbnb, that could be marketed as a great rental property, or even just a famous home. Who knows? Because for like privacy and safety, some people don't want their address just being blasted out there, right? So my client is a designer, and so her brand is Blanco Bungalow. So she wasn't willing to sell the Instagram page. However, if you did want to go that route as a real estate agent, and let's just say this was a vacation home and this was an Airbnb, what a genius way to market the property. Like maybe it's a Palm Springs home, maybe it's a ski cabin or whatever, and you could come up with a cool handle and build that following and put that along with it. I mean, yes, it's work. Anything worth it is going to be work. But from a marketing perspective, at the very minimum, agents need to think about having a hashtag, a catchy hashtag that they can
Yeah.
tweet, they can put on YouTube. So then that way, anytime someone Googles the hashtag, it's going to take you to all of those things. Whenever you
Yeah.
look up Blanco Bungalow, it's everywhere. Like,
That's genius.
yeah. And we didn't even do paid ads. By the way, we did not do really any paid ads when we first got started. We had 325,000 organic visits to the website before running any ads
Yeah.
on that website.
That's unreal. I was just
Yeah.
talking to a friend about this. Like the name, like there's so much creative things, like just naming a house like that. It goes such a long way. It's just cool. It's something to talk about. And so many agents, anyways, um, like buy domains and give the house a website.
Yeah.
So why not give the house an Instagram?
Sterling Granger, real estate creative, the best meme maker in the game, he does that with his properties. He names his
Really?
properties and like writes an entire story about it and like markets them in an extremely clever way. But can you imagine if your house just started getting like more followers and everything than you, and your house just keeps going viral, and then you just have to give up that Instagram and you're constantly
Or you
battling
sell
with
it.
the house? Yeah,
You sell it.
exactly.
You sell it
Yeah.
for a premium. I think here's what I think is going to happen going forward in 2023. All of the agents that kind of just, let the house sell and didn't really put that much effort into it. Maybe they did one video and maybe it got traction, maybe it didn't. This case study of the Blanco Bungalow, which by the way, yesterday, I forget who it was. I think it was Redfin posted some article, or realtor.com, that said the 10-year US housing boom is officially over. Like that was the headline. And it just dropped yesterday, right? I sent that to my clients and I'm like, way to go, guys.
Right.
You just dodged a bullet. But I think about the fact that if we had not gone all in on controlling the controllables, right? Now, granted, she's a great designer. The house was adorable. It had all that stuff going for it. Most agents, if they had a cute house like that, they're like, oh, I don't really need to do anything. It's cute. The house is going to sell itself. I was so paranoid that the sky was falling that I'm like, okay, the only way price reduction from them is if I show them how many views we've had with no phone calls, right? How many visits we've had, what the open houses were like, what the feedback was like, but no offers. It's like at the end of the day, if you've checked all those boxes and you have the data and the evidence and you don't have an offer yet, well, if it's not selling, the price is not compelling. It's as easy as that.
Yeah. So you save your ass, and then you like, it's so crazy because then so many other people see it and they're like, oh shit, we need to work with Taya now. And you destroyed that in such a like downward market. I mean, it's just all pluses.
Yeah, the
Thank
fact that
you.
everybody heard at
Yeah.
the Compass
Yeah.
conference knew that house.
In Atlanta.
Yeah, in Atlanta, and like just and the fact that 300,000 plus or almost 500,000 people visited that website, they're seeing the marketing on your name as well.
Yeah.
So any
One-
agent thinking about like mailing it in for a cute house should be using that cute house as an opportunity, just like you did. Even if
Yes.
it doesn't sell, if it's overpriced, you still have 60, 90, 120 days plus, however long the listing agreement is, of getting that marketing out there.
Well, and that's how I got the listing, is that
Mhm.
I told them, I said, look, you guys have let's not forget the fact that it's a 2-bed, 1-bath house.
Right.
Okay. It's a
Yeah.
2-bedroom, 1-bath house. It's barely 1,400 square feet, maybe 1,457, something like that. So most agents are going to go, I mean, shit, is it even worth $1 million? It sold, by the way, it sold for $1,010,000. So it sold for, ironically, $11,000 over.
Perfect.
So you have to ask yourself, is this an opportunity where I could really leverage my reputation and I could I could level up and get attention for future listings and have some clout with that. And that's exactly what I saw was an opportunity, So it's like, yes, it was only $1 million listing, which I know people in other parts of the country are like, oh, come on, Taya, like we'd love to have $1 million. In LA, $1 million listing is like entry level. If
Yeah.
it's
Same
usually
here.
1.2, right? So I use that opportunity because now I can go in. If they're like, oh, you're good at marketing, I'm like, yeah, look what I did with this 2-bed, 1-bath house. If I did that for this, look what I could do for you on your $5 million house in an adjusting market.
Yeah.
So it's all opportunity.
Those insights speak volumes in listing appointments too. Like I use that a lot. And like I tell agents all the time, listings are what we work for. Like you should treat these listings like the Super Bowl of our business. These are the Super Bowl commercials of our business. Every listing is such an opportunity for you to not only make money, but get 5 more listings from
Yes.
how well you did it. So it's like, why are you not taking every opportunity to just be creative and do videos? Like, why are you doing the bare minimum? Sure, you'll sell it, but like you're doing nothing else.
But are you going to get the review and the referral? And
Yeah.
it reminds me, when I was at the Compass retreat, after I spoke, there was an agent in the audience who was like, so when you go on a listing appointment and you talk to them about your marketing, like, is social media like your only thing that you're really touting? And it caught me off guard because of course, my elevator is more than just social media. And so often people will say, oh, well, Taya does all of her videos. She's really good at social media. And that question got me really into where I'm going to pivot my video content going forward for 2023. One of my strongest skill sets is negotiation, like without a doubt. I am a cutthroat negotiator. I'll do it with a smile on my face. And something that I don't brag about that often. Like maybe I'll have it in a case study with my stats to say, look, we got this many offers. But when everybody was getting multiple offers, who gives a shit? In this adjusting market, those negotiating skills are what are going to be a distinct making a distinction between you and your competitor. So I actually said to her, I go, you know what? When I'm representing a buyer, I have a track record of getting credits and repairs. And when I represent a seller, I have a track record of getting more. So I think that agents really need to understand that in this adjusting market, marketing is really important, but let's not be foolish. At the end of the day, like you need to know what your value is. If you are a good negotiator, like for Blanco Bungalow, it didn't appraise. It did not appraise. And my clients went from all of a sudden, they're really into the marketing. And I'm like, guys, I know you hired me because you like my marketing, but you hired me to not only get it under contract, but to actually close it. I was like, so when this thing doesn't appraise because it's not going to, do you have a backup plan if the house doesn't sell? They said, yes. I go, good. So when it doesn't appraise, he'll have his appraisal contingency and you're just going to say no. And they're like, are you sure? Mm-hmm. I'm like, are you ready to like cancel the deal? They're like, yeah, because we want that amount. I go, perfect. And guess what? It didn't 60 grand. 60 grand. And we told the buyer, it's the way it goes. We're willing to throw in, some concessions with furniture, plants, whatever, but the house is going to sell for $1.1 million.
You get the Instagram handle.
Yeah, no.
Not even that.
Not that.
Yeah.
So,
But that ended up happening. So I think that right there too, in this new market, agents are going to have to really flex their muscles when it comes to not just marketing, but negotiating.
so how are you going to flex those muscles with content? Is that a shift you're going to make in your videos showing how you would negotiate a specific aspect of the deal, or what's that going to look like?
Yeah, that's going to look like more of the knowledge broker educational videos. Basically saying, okay, what happens if you have a situation like, how would you handle that? Here's Taya's 2 cents on how you should handle that, right? What's going to happen if the market shifts and does this, right? Because that's what the consumer's thinking right now. What's going to happen? Nobody knows. Okay, well, what do you do when you don't know? You get educated. You collect informed decisions, because you can't predict the future. Like when I was at Gio's soccer game, this woman comes up to me and she's like, "Oh, Taya, I'm Roberto's mom. I'm so happy to meet you. I've been following your Instagram page for like a year." And of course, I immediately thought she was a realtor.
Right.
So I go, are you an agent in town? She goes, "No." And I was like, "You're a real person?"
Yeah.
You're like, it's working.
I know. I
This
was like,
is how it's supposed to be. It's not that it's supposed to be some person going up to me at a real estate conference. It's supposed to be
totally. I
actual
almost
clients.
texted our chain to
Yeah.
be like, a
Yes.
real
A real person.
a real
A real
person follows
person.
me. And I was like, "Oh my God." She goes, "Oh, I love your content. I learn so much from you. I learn so much from you." So that right there, when you make valuable content that's well thought out, they are watching, they are listening, they will come back for more. And that is what I need to do more of in 2023. That's what you can expect from me, is more of that knowledge-based broker, educating people. I have almost 12 years of experience now. I want to showcase that. I was so annoyed when I volunteered at my kid's school today and the like teacher's aide or something was like, "Oh, well, that's here." Like, "Oh, you work?" And I'm like, "Yes, I work." And she's like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I sell real estate." She goes, "No, who doesn't sell real estate in Manhattan
You're,
Beach?" And
you're
I was
like,
like,
shut up.
I wanted to
Yeah.
be like, and so of
A
course,
lot of people.
You should have
Like-
started showing the stats on the Blanco Bungalow.
I'm not kidding you. As soon as we walked into like the breezeway, this mom, I go, "I actually like really sell."
Right.
I go,
Yeah.
"I'm not just one of those women that like got her license on a weekend and was like, that's cool. Like when my husband buys a property, like we can get a little kickback
Yeah.
discount." I'm like, "No, like I legit have been doing this for over a
Did
decade."
you bring her aside and just whisper like,
Yeah.
"Listen, if you ever fucking say that again,"
Yeah.
and
Or
just
it's like Ron Burgundy is like, "I don't know how to put this, but
yeah,
I'm kind of a big deal."
Yeah.
Yeah. People
Yeah.
have such a weird reaction to realtors still. When you say that, there's
Ah.
always kind of this doubting look that they
like
give you.
a giggle.
Yeah. Which I can
It
understand
is.
when someone talking to me about it. But, from you and you guys, it's a little bit
Oh,
different.
it gets even worse now, like because
Yeah,
I'm like a
actually.
real estate agent, content creator,
Right.
podcast host. Like, oh yeah, right.
He's like, you're another one of those podcasters, huh?
Yeah. Oh, you got YouTube? Oh, cool.
Cute.
Yeah, exactly. People, yeah, it happens all the time. But what you did say before we wrap this up, valuable, well thought out content. I think people forget about that. Always think about posting with intent. You need to know what you want to do. You need to have some sort of vision, some sort of path, lane that you want to go down. I mean, so many people are like, "Oh, I don't write scripts because, whatever." It's like, fine, you don't have to write a script, but like, know what you're gonna say, like, or at least like have a topic in mind. Some people do what
Yes.
you do, Taya, and like by this point, I'm sure you can kind of go and be a little bit more off the cuff because of how much you've done with Taya 2 Cents and stuff.
Right.
Like you've done it, but like people who are just getting into this, trying to create content, they just think that their everyday skills, like negotiating skills or whatever, is just going to translate on camera. That's not the case. There's a
No.
lot of work that goes into it.
Yeah. Actually, someone DM'd me the other day. They go, "Where do you come up with your content?" And I just wrote her back. I don't know what got into me. Maybe I had a glass of wine or something. And I put, "My brain." And she was like, "Huh?" And I'm like, I research. I'm not just a content creator, I'm a creative director.
Yeah.
And no one can create this content for you and have it come across as genuine and authentic. You have to read the article from Wall Street Journal, have an opinion about it, and then just structure it out. Like I have the hook. I'm like, what did I take away from this article? What's my strong opinion? That's my hook. What are 3 things that are takeaways from the article? Bada bing, bada boom, bada bing. And then remind everybody who I am and read the caption for more details. That's it.
The
Mhm.
news is just such a perfect hook right now. I mean, we just went
Yes.
through 2 hours, or not 2 hours, 2 years of the same market, the same
Yeah.
seller's market, the same jokes, the same content. It's a crazy market, 15 offers,
Yep.
20% above asking. And now with this shift, it's giving agents such a new opportunity to use the news and the headlines as these hook, because everyone's so interested in the housing market again right now, because it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, well, maybe there is an opportunity. What's going on with rates? What's happening with the economy? What's happening with the war? What's like, there's just so many different factors
Right.
that we could utilize with that content. And you don't just sit there and all of a sudden, like you said, like your brain doesn't just be like, oh, I'm going to post this. It's like you are constantly combing for news articles. I'm looking in Facebook groups. Like Matt and I are constantly talking back and forth about content ideas. We're sending each other pictures and videos. Should I do this? Should I do that? Like, this isn't just you sit in a room and stuff just pops in your head.
Right.
That's
and
the worst way to
it's
come up with
it's
content. You have to be experiencing
100%.
stuff.
Well, and what about the fact that no one wants to read a fucking article?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
everybody
this is
wants to
perfect
read.
for this.
Everybody's
Yeah.
lazy. Nobody wants to read the full article. Your clients don't even want to read the newspaper. They don't want to read the article. They actually would rather watch a video where I give you
Totally.
the cliff notes. So like, I'm sorry guys, if you want quality content, you're gonna have to read the article.
Yep. You got to
Like,
do like more than the bare minimum. Sorry, guys.
yes, don't just share the clickbait. Everybody can read clickbait. Like, tell us if the clickbait is misleading. Like, is the article actually about something entirely different? Like, that's way more interesting than just reposting an article to your story and not even having an opinion about why you shared it.
Yeah.
I wanted to
100%.
I'm going to get one more thing, Matt.
Okay.
We have a little bit
We have
more here.
1 minute. All right.
Yeah, I got a text. We're okay for a couple minutes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Yay.
dongle stays.
I was trying to give Taya the.
Yeah. No.
Like,
we're
better,
good.
like, give me the hook and just take me out.
So what you just filmed, you just said you were rejuvenated. You said I'm back to Ricky, and you said you filmed like 5-6 like incredidible videos for December. What was that December content? Is it the educational stuff that you're just talking about, or what were those videos specifically?
Those specifically were about news headlines and my opinion about them. Like, I have one video that I basically say, anyone who lists in the month of December is desperate right now. And I was like, it's crazy what a difference a year makes. Last December, I would have said, definitely sell your house in December. There's people out there that want to buy it. And now I'm like, don't do it. And I know that's unpopular opinion. People are going to be mad at me, but I don't really care. Like, I don't want to be a doom and gloomer, but it's the truth.
Didn't you say that before once, and your client actually got upset with you that was listing? Yeah.
No,
So
I said, don't list in August. And he goes, well, now we don't want to list in August. And
yeah, like, we have a listing agreement signed for August 15th. What's going on? How do you respond to that when they say that?
I was like, I tried to backpedal, and I was like, but I still really do feel like August is a bad time. And he was like, well, then we'll just launch in September. And it actually worked out better. So it's like, I think that we just can't be afraid what people are going to push back on us for.
Good thing you didn't double down on that, eh? If you list in August, you're a real piece of shit.
You're a complete and utter moron. As you're signing the listing agreement.
That's true.
Yeah, but the content for December, I'm really excited to launch, and I feel like it's more in alignment with who I was and always have been before I got the rug pulled out from underneath me this year. And I'm you know what? Retrospectively, I'm really glad that I went through some adversity this year. It makes me appreciate all that I have. Although my numbers were down because of that, my quality of life, my friendships, my experiences, I am rich in experience this year, like joyful experiences. And I cannot wait for the new year.
Well, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor.
That is absolutely true. Meme that shit right now.
Kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man.
Always. It's very true.
It
a lot of knowledge. Taya, you're the best. Like, I always say it. I use you as an example all the time with whoever I'm talking to. I think you're one of the best to ever do it in
Thank you.
The real estate and the content game. So we're stoked to have you on. We'll have you on a million times. So
I love you guys.
Thanks for being on.
Thank you.
The Broke Agent presents